Well, summer is in full swing here at the farmhouse, and with an endless list of chores and projects, it's easy for me to feel behind all the time. So, in today's video, I thought I would give myself and you a pep talk about where we really are and help us to slow down and truly tune into summer. Stepping into my slow moving kitchen this morning, we had a little bit of a slumber party last night for my son's birthday. So we have a little company this morning, and I thought I would make the boys pancakes. They are currently out fishing at the pond, and I know they're going to come in ravenous any minute. So one of the easiest things I know to whip up is homemade pancakes, and I know they'll want some little chocolate chips thrown in, and then we'll do some scrambled eggs on the side. It should be a meal to please all. I have made these pancakes so many times, I don't need to reference any written recipe. It's just in my head. And at some point, I promise I will get a printable recipe on my blog for you. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be over here flipping flapjacks as quick as I can this summer to feed my crew. And hopefully we can get to more of those things soon. Again, with that feeling though, constantly in my brain, I feel like I'm behind, like I should be further with work. My house should be more picked up. The project that I had started back in January feels like it should have been fully complete by now. And part of it is that I'm overly ambitious, or I fail to think through how long things will actually take at times. But I know I'm not alone in this feeling, just around our homes in general, feeling behind on things, whether it's laundry or dishes, or feeling like you're never going to get ahead, feeling like you're constantly playing catch up. That's something I definitely wanted to discuss today. Now, if you want to talk about being behind or feeling behind, enter a house of a family of 6 when it comes to dishes or laundry. It's a never-ending uphill battle, honestly. And I think that that's the first thing I want to share, is that this feeling behind, or this way that we phrase this to ourselves, is doing us absolutely no favors. I'm a big believer in using the right words, especially when we talk to ourselves or just our inner thoughts. And I think if we're constantly in the background hearing that we are behind, it won't matter what it looks like in front of us or what the reality is, we will always feel behind. I'm kind of laughing at myself here because as I finish up dishes, I realize I forgot to clean off a few things from the dining room table. Does this ever happen to you too? You clean all the dishes and then you turn around and you forgot one last thing. With just the baby under my feet here this morning, it's pretty quiet, so I thought I would just take a moment to tidy this, because tidy spaces always help me feel a little bit more clear-minded, and I have much less of a tendency to think I'm behind or be stressed out about the workload ahead of me. Now, as we've been tuning into more summer activities, I've been trying to get the kids busy with obviously something besides a screen. The weather has been really beautiful so far this summer, but we've been greeted with a lot of rainy days. So puzzles have come out, and a lot of extra games. I'll be sure to link some of these. These are some of my favorite things. The kids love these junior snap circuits. The boys do especially. And even Reese is starting to take interest in them. They're a great little science activity. And they've held up really well along with the wooden puzzle. So as you can see, this cabinet is also another puzzle and making me feel a bit behind, but we're just going to close the doors on that today because sometimes you have to pick your priorities. And that reminds me that one thing I've probably adopted at least over the last 6 months is to choose only one priority for the day when it comes to my work. Because I have so many other little humans to take care of and so many chores to do around the house, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed with the amount of things I would love to accomplish in a day. So choosing just one, not 3, not 5. It doesn't mean that other things don't get done, but that one work priority that I would be proud to get done at the end of the day actually gets accomplished, and I feel a lot more like I'm on pace with my goals. Now, another way I guess I've been trying to tune into summer is just to move at a bit of a slower pace in the morning. Still very intentional. It's very habitual to just go through the chores and do the things, but to slow down, listen to the Bible in a Year podcast. And just so you know, this is another thing. Just so you know, I'm not probably on track with the days. I feel like I went at least 100 days without missing a day. And then the month of May happened and it was just crazy for a while. And so there was part of me that wanted to like double up on episodes and listen more so that I could get caught up and be on the exact day so that at the end of the year, I would have 365 days of listening done, you know. But really, whose rule is that? Like, whose agenda is that? I don't think it matters if you're just phoning it in and you're just checking a box. So if you're like me and you love to check a box, but you get behind on things, just know that we need to focus more on why we're doing it and just step back into it the best we can. I've been waiting for a sunny day to finally tackle this little project. This stroller has been in our family for over 10 years now, starting with our firstborn, and it is gross. After being left on our porch this spring, the puppy decided to sleep in it a few times and it smells like a wet dog. So I am going to tackle this today with my new favorite secret weapon, my Vevor tractable hose reel, who happens to be the sponsor of today's video. The handle comes with 9 different settings and the Jet is going to do the heavy lifting for me today. I can already tell you that we will be fighting over this hose all summer. Whether it's the kids wanting to play in the backyard, whether we want to wash a car, water the garden if at some point it stops raining this year, or clean virtually anything around our farm. The coolest features about this hose is that it comes with a swivel mount that you can place on the wall, and then it swivels 180 degrees into any direction you need with an easy retractable hose. I love that there is zero mess, zero tangles, and now I think we need to replace every hose we have with these Vevor hoses. The hose is designed to be leak-proof and durable in all weather conditions, and it's 100 feet long. Definitely going to be a winner around here. If you want to check out the Vevor retractable garden hose reel for yourself, I'll be sure to leave all information in the description box below. Thank you again to Vevor for helping us tackle all the projects around here. All right, we're going to step back into the kitchen and show you a quick lunch that we had this week too. Making little sliders has become an easy, quick go-to meal when life gets busy, and these freeze really well too. So I love to make these in batches and stick them in the freezer for usually fall nights when we're on the go or we have football or something. But today I am making a recipe that I found online somewhere. I'll be sure to link it down below, but it has become one of my personal favorites. Last night before I went to bed, I decided to throw a roast into the Instant Pot so that it could just be slow cooking all night, and then I would have the meat ready to go for today's lunch. And of course I had a little bit left over too, so we can use that for another meal at some point this week. But this one is going to be a roast beef. I think I ended up using a rump roast here, but you could use an arm roast, anything that's maybe like your less desirable roast. I love a good chuck roast, but I probably wouldn't let's say, waste it on sandwiches because it's so good just on its own. You could definitely do any kind of roast, so all that to say. The original recipe calls for mozzarella and queso fresco, but I didn't have any, so I am just doing a shredded up Monterey Jack that I happen to have on hand from tacos. So I'm going to top that with onions and cilantro. I know it sounds like a little bit of an odd combination. Maybe it doesn't with the Monterey Jack, but the original recipe sounds a little bit different to me because it has mozzarella on it. But it's delicious. I loved it. I loved it this way and the original recipe. So just so you know, how I'm making it today is just slightly different than the recipe that I'll be sharing and linking below. But for some reason, just that onion, the diced onion and cilantro just sets it off so well for me. This actually doesn't even have a sauce per se, but we're going to add some jalapenos and then just a little bit of the juice. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that leftover broth that was in the slow cooker and brush the tops of these rolls. Now I do half of this with jalapenos, half without. And so the side that I do jalapenos on, I'm always sure to put a jalapeno on top. That way I can kind of mark which side is spicy and which side is not. Yes, we were greeted with more pop-up storms and showers this week. It has been such a rainy spring here. I feel really fortunate that we personally were able to plant our crops during this one little dry week that we had, but I know that there are a lot of farmers in our area that could use a little bit more sunshine, a little bit more dry weather, maybe just for a week. You hate to wish it away, but we also need to get all of our crops planted. So the other night we were going for a little bit of a drive on the side-by-side around our farm, and it was a beautiful breezy evening. We were looking at the weather and talking about the week, and Dan mentioned that it was supposed to rain again. And my daughter just squealed with excitement. And we looked at each other like she's excited about a rainy day. And she went on and told Dan that rainy days are for muffins and baking and peanut clusters and banana bread. And she went on and on about all of these things, and I had to laugh. He looked at me like, you know where that's coming from. And it just put it into perspective how much these little things like baking on a rainy day, even though it's so simple and we make those tried and true recipes over and over again, they're so memorable to our children. No, we don't make all of those things every single rainy day, but in their memories and their minds, I think we do. So as you're tuning into summer, be sure to remember that sometimes just the simple, tried and true recipes and things that you do in your home, even if you only do them one time the entire summer, they could become so memorable to your children that they think you did them all the time. You don't have to plan it out. You don't have to have the perfect Pinterest recipe. Just grab those old family recipes and get busy in the kitchen, especially on rainy days. It just got really quiet around here. The baby is down for her nap and the kiddos ran off with Dan to fish for a little while. So of course, instead of taking a nap, my mind is thinking about the millions of things that I could get caught up on around here. But I decided to force myself out to the back deck because the weather is just beautiful here this afternoon, and I'm gonna have a little slow devotional time. Just a couple weeks ago, I got to thinking about some core habits that I could really try to stick to this summer. And of course, work out, drink your water, things like that were on the list. But I decided to add in having some slow devotional time to that list because if you're anything like me, it's really easy to just get busy, to just clean up around the house, to go from one task to another. But forcing myself to sit still and just be in the word or just think more deeply, maybe take some time to journal or pray, it's a little bit more of a challenge for me to sit still. It feels unproductive, but yet every time I actually take the opportunity to slow down and have that quiet time, I appreciate it so much and it sets me up better for all of the other things that I need to do in the day. When you intentionally set aside some time to slow down and be present, you notice so much more, like the butterfly floating across the garden. You're more focused on what it is you actually want to accomplish this week and what your purpose and your why is behind what all of these other things are that you're doing. And having that intention, it gives you time to think about it and pray about it. And it's obviously also calming, which is so important, at least for me. If I chase the tasks and the kids all day long and I'm running from one thing to the next, I need to stop for a moment and breathe and reset. And this has been the perfect little habit for me. One of the most perfect ways to tune into summer. Now that I've had my slow time, one of the little projects I wanted to tackle today was just resetting this side of our kitchen. This counter is definitely a hot spot. It is the one place where we tend to dump all the things that don't have a home. And now that Ruth is out of the formula stage and the bottles, I thought I would update her little area here. It's still very functional, but only has the necessities we now need. I also wanted to kind of redistribute these little red striped towels that I recently got from our antique shopping trip. I thought they were perfect for the 4th of July, and I'm just slowly trying to add in those touches. And this is where the feeling behind sets in again as I'm pulling down Easter baskets. Yes, Easter baskets in the beginning of June, I know. But instead of feeling behind, I'm looking at it as a way to remember all of the sweet memories we've already had this spring. Like the tea party we had for Reese's birthday, and of course Easter, putting away the LED candles, hoping that I will no longer need them for all of the power outages from the spring storms. Okay, maybe that part wasn't such a sweet memory, but yet counting our blessings as we move into summer. I'm excited to further decorate for the 4th of July. I usually get all of this stuff out for Memorial Day weekend, but again, just moving at the pace of life right now. So setting up a few things to make it look a little bit more patriotic here and getting ready to tune in fully to summer.